Oh man, this whole recording setup thing is getting better by the day. I've made it now so I can actually sit properly with my back cushioned. My head is brushing a sort of, what do you call it, a drawer from a chest of drawers. So that's a slight concern, and if there's a big bang, that'll be what it is. But hello, and welcome back to The Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt, as always, and I hope I don't get too hot. That's the only slight concern currently, is that I might get a bit hot. So, yeah, right. You know, I was thinking about this yesterday and a couple other days. My numbering scheme was really weird for the episodes because I was thinking, okay, this is week 50 now of the year. So I was saying, well, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you didn't know that, now you do. And I should in theory have 52 episodes, which technically I will have 52 episodes, but the last episode will be episode 50 for this year. Now that's because I missed 1 week in which I just uploaded a little update thing. I'll have to listen back to why I missed that week. Technically, I did upload an episode that week, if you will. And the second one is because I started at 0 for whatever stupid reason. I decided that my first episode would be 0. So that's why we'll be ending on 50. At least ending on 50 is a round number. But, it's annoying my brain that in theory I should have 52 episodes. So the last episode should be 52. But what you gonna do? I've managed to keep this going. And that was my whole kind of point of doing this weird, stupid podcast, was just to have something that I do every week, because it's not particularly difficult. The hardest part really is thinking about things to talk about, and I imagine if you were trying to do this properly, you'd maybe plan out everything you were going to do for the year, or plan at least a decent amount of time in advance. So, whereas I just plan during the week, which often sometimes means I don't have anything to talk about, so hey ho. Okay, so I actually asked my friends and some colleagues sort of, what the hell should I talk about this week? And they suggested a couple of things, so let's start off with Christmas/New Year's traditions. So, we're mixing it up slightly this year. Not very much, to be honest, but it's different. We're not particularly doing gifts, although I say that right now, but I haven't bought them any gifts. If they've bought me gifts, I'm gonna feel like an absolute wally on Christmas morning. But one thing I do personally, as a bit of a Christmas tradition now, is I make cinnamon rolls. So I don't know what that was. Slightly concerned that this all could come crashing down on me. Yeah, so one thing I do is I make cinnamon rolls. Mainly because I just love cinnamon rolls personally, but also because I want to be able to bake something with relative proficiency. First year I did it, I didn't activate the yeast, so they were flat as a pancake and really tough. The second year I did not roll the dough nearly thin enough, and then they ended up as really thick swirls that didn't have very many circles to them. And then I think the last year I got them pretty much bang on. I could have maybe done them a bit thinner. Not entirely sure. Don't remember them off the top of my head. But they looked really nice. They tasted delicious. And nobody complained, which may or may not be a good thing. So that's a tradition I've been doing. Normally we just sort of, in previous years when we were younger and we had presents, that would be what we did after breakfast. So we'd get up, we'd say like Merry Christmas and whatnot. We'd have breakfast. Obviously now we're having potentially cinnamon rolls on Christmas morning, or potentially cinnamon rolls at coffee times, which is about 11 o'clock. We then open presents, and then it's kind of cooking time. So we try and help out, do some of the vegetable prep the day before, and then help cooking out on the day. Mom does most of the cooking, to be perfectly honest, but I might try and assist in some way. And then it's just kind of maybe listen to some music, play some games, watch a film potentially, that kind of stuff. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. And then New Year's is pretty much the same. Not much happens during the day, on New Year's Eve specifically. In the evening we'll have kind of sort of party food, buffet style food, throughout the night till maybe about 8 o'clock, and then it's just kind of drinking, playing some games again, maybe watch a film, because films kill a lot of time, and then staying up to see the fireworks. And then New Year's Day is just a bit of a lighter meal generally. We try to do maybe fish, or I think we're doing pork this year potentially, well, next year. Funny. Yeah, fun, good stuff. We'll see. One year we bought I bought 51 Worldwide Games on Switch, which has sort of board games and card games that we played for a bit. That was quite nice. Well, I think it was nice personally. I enjoyed it. I think they kind of maybe said, "Oh yeah, it was good. It was nice. It was fun," just to kind of not be mean. Hey ho. Right. So what my colleague suggested maybe talking about was my least favourite vegetable and explaining why. So, we're sliding straight from Christmas into vegetables. I would have said mushrooms, though technically mushrooms aren't a vegetable, but I kind of consider them, in terms of food-wise, they're in that sort of realm of, they're not a meat, they're not a dairy, they're a vegetable, if you will, even though specifically they're not as a plant. But if we want to talk about an actual vegetable I don't like, it's kind of difficult because I feel there's a way you can cook most vegetables that I will enjoy in some capacity. I suppose there's things like, I'm not a huge fan of courgette, but in maybe a pasta dish I'll eat them. I don't like olives. That's assuming that olives count as vegetables. Yeah, it's weird to think about stuff you don't like. I like vegetables because they are fresh, and you can do a lot of things with vegetables that then taste really good, especially roasting them. Roasted peppers are wonderful. They have that kind of smoky flavor. They've gone soft, but they're a little bit sweet as well, unless you get green peppers, which are basically unripe peppers. They're not particularly sweet, but that could play to your advantage. The reason I said mushrooms is because I love the concept of mushrooms, and the dishes I've seen that involve mushrooms sound phenomenal, but I think it's the texture that I just don't like about mushrooms particularly. I don't exactly know what they taste like. What does a mushroom taste like? I'm not entirely sure, because unless you just cook a mushroom and then eat it straight, which is probably not the preferable way of eating a mushroom, how would you know what it tastes like? Yeah. Roasted carrots, roasted parsnips, gorgeous. Red cabbage, there we go. Finally got to a vegetable. Not a huge fan of red cabbage particularly. And some leafy greens, which I guess you could consider as a vegetable, not entirely sure. Some leafy greens I'm not a huge fan of, because I'm weird. I like iceberg lettuce, which most people say is just crispy water. But I like it. I think it's nice. I like the crunch, the crispness. Maybe some baby gem lettuce instead if you want the same thing but better, I suppose. So yeah, I'll pretty much eat any vegetable. But it depends on the texture. I think that's would be my defining trait. Obviously there are some flavors, i.e. red cabbage, that I don't like, but it's generally texture that will put me off something. It's the same reason why I don't like calamari. Not because of the flavor, because of the texture. The like squishy, rubbery texture of squid. Grosses me out just thinking about it. Yeah. Speaking of someone who would eat anything, my cat. I talked about last week, I think, about the whole fact that having the cat sit on your lap is amazing and terrible at the same time. This happened to me yesterday. So I was just sat laying in bed, watching some YouTube, some Mario Kart specifically, and she just came and nestled her way onto my legs and my lap. Even though I was sat in bed with the duvet over my legs, she still figured out where my legs were and sat on me. And I was like, oh, this is fine actually, because the duvet adds a bit of a buffer, so they're not actually sitting directly on your legs and they're not killing your legs, but you're still getting the warmth and the heat transfer and everything, and I really like it. So, I was petting her, stroking her whilst I was watching and stuff, and she eventually rearranged herself and fully laid out along my legs and put one arm, foot, leg out. I was like, oh, that's really cute, I'm just going to leave you now. Continued watching. About maybe 10-15 minutes later, I heard this weird, like, breathing, huffing noise, and I was like, what was that? Was that something in the video? Pause the video, wait a minute. And then I can hear it, and what I realised is she was snoring. She'd fully fallen asleep on me, and I was just like, that's so cute that she's just completely gone. She's gone. And like, I would move a tiny bit and breathe and whatnot, and my chest would go up and down, which would move her head, and she wouldn't move at all. So I was like, oh, she's actually fully gone. But then I was in that problem position of, I want to go to bed at 10 o'clock because I want to get up early tomorrow, and it's now like 9:30. Is she gonna wake up? Do I have to wake her up? Do I have to disturb the poor cat? But no, she just, at some point, I think maybe like 9:15, maybe 9:10, her head went straight up. She was looking around. She stared straight at me with the kind of really innocent look in her eyes of, hello, what's going on? Who's there? And that was it. She was awake. I don't know if she just had like I don't know if she just had like a half an hour, 45-minute nap or something, and then that was it. She was done. She was ready to go, but she just woke up, and I was like, thank goodness I don't have to disturb you. Because then she got up, left, and I was able to go pee. That was a big thing. I really needed to pee at that point, and then I could set myself up and go to bed. So yeah, woo. Let's hope that by the time I've cut all this down, I've got enough to talk about. I think I say this every week. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed listening to the weird person rambling on about his life. Very egotistical, isn't it? And I'll see you all next week. Bye.